So I'm sitting in a plastic chair, laughing my ass off, even though the room around me is dingy and the fluorescent lights are flickering and everyone is sad. I'm sitting across from my sister, and we're not doing anything except sitting across from each other and talking. And I am laughing harder than I have laughed in about a year. I've been really nervous for this visit, because even though I've done it before, I've made sure my clothes are okay to go through the metal detector, no wire in my bra, no earrings in my ears or on my face. I make sure there's no holes in my clothes, that my buttons are buttoned all the way to the top, no skin showing, closed-toed shoes. I've memorized her inmate ID so that I can say it at the counter, because you're not allowed to bring your cell phone in, and if you forget, you have to make them look her up, and you have to refer to her with male pronouns, even though she's a woman, and it's just very awkward, so I always want to make sure I have that memorized. So I've gone through all that. I've gone through the metal detector. I've showed them that there's nothing in my mouth or on the bottom of my feet. And I finally make it in to the prison visiting room, and I'm sitting across from my sister. And at first, I'm so nervous because I've been waiting for this visit for months. We finally jumped through all the hoops to have a 4-hour visit together, just us. She's been in prison for a couple years by now, and up to this point, we've visited with other people, and it's only been 1 hour. So this is me face-to-face with my sister for 4 hours. And we were never really the talky kind of sisters. We were more the sisters who would dye our hair blue together and then do a photo shoot with a piece of ginger root that we found at the grocery store that looked cool. Or we were the kind of sisters who would make a fake Facebook profile for our brother that was just his picture with a giant mustache on it, and then we would make up a fake band called the Rusty Mustaches and then record a music video of that band with us as the lead singers, and it would be a parody of Gautier's song that we called A Mustache That You Used to Know. So that's the kind of sisterhood we had. We were more doers than talkers. So I was actually really nervous to sit in a chair a solid 3 feet away. We had tape on the floor to remind us how close we were allowed to be, for 4 hours just talking. I had looked up on the internet conversation starters for my own sister. And when I entered that prison visiting room, I was confronted by a group of inmates and visitors who looked really anxious and stressed out. And I sat in my chair and I waited for her to come in. And then just like every time she entered the room, I felt the anxiety melt away. She looked so different from everyone else there. Number one, because she's a woman and it was a men's prison. She has long, straight, shiny black hair that goes all the way down to her waist. And since she's been on estrogen, her skin is glowing and bright. She looks like a forest nymph. And she wears this baggy, awful jumpsuit that's beige and these clunky black shoes. But when she locks eyes on me, the biggest smile brightens on her face. And one brightens on my face as well. And she comes over and she sits down, and immediately all the anxieties of the past few weeks where I'm thinking, what am I going to talk about with my sister for 4 straight hours without a bathroom break? They melt away because it's just me and her, and we start talking. First, I get her double pork chop and Cool Ranch Doritos, and I pause on the Mountain Dew because 4 hours without peeing. I get her Reese cups, and she chows down, and then we get to talking. And I start to realize that one of the things I've been nervous about for all these weeks is not that we're going to run out of things to talk about, but that the things we're going to talk about are going to be really sad, and that this awesome, amazing, bright sister that I love more than anyone in the world is going to only be able to talk to me about the sadness and the never-ending depression of prison and the boredom and the horrible classes she has to go to and the work she has to do and how much trouble it is to take a shower and get people to use her pronouns. But instead, she sits across from me and launches into this story, unprompted, about this time in high school when she was on a school trip overnight, and they were on a bus. And the bus stopped at one of those old-timey candy shops with like the off-brand M&Ms in a clear bag marked with a weight. And at this candy shop, she bought a 1-gallon glass jug of blueberry cider. And she decided, by the time we reach our hotel in 2 hours, I'm going to drink that entire jug. And she did. And so once her class gets into the hotel, she's hanging out with her friends, and she feels a little rumble in her belly, and she's like, uh-oh, it's time. And so she makes a beeline for her hotel room, getting her card out of her pocket, when hot, dripping poop starts leaking out of her butt and down her leg as she's shuffling to her room, and it's going all the way down. And she throws open the door. Her roommates are in there. She says, hi, bye, and juts into the bathroom, and immediately it just explodes like Mount Vesuvius. And she just lets that whole gallon of blueberry cider just right out her butt. And then she takes a shower with her clothes on because it is everywhere. And I'm still in my chair, just dying, laughing my head off, and I am falling out of the chair, and everyone is looking at us, including the guards, and I do not care because I'm laughing and she's laughing. And even though we're in the most depressing place I ever imagined that we would find ourselves, she had the courage to tell me the most beautiful poop story I have ever heard. And around us, the walls of the prison feel like they're not there anymore. And I realize that my sister is the same hilarious sister that I've grown up with and I love so much. And the prison around us starts to drip away like diarrhea down a leg. Thank you.